Good morning. I just thought that was a fun little wake us up song for the morning time. We have the power as technology instructors to give the staff development on the TIM painlessly. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm April Scheibelhood from Arcado Elementary School, and this is a staff development that our LSTC did with us 2 years ago at Arcado Elementary. And it was a great thing because it was pretty painless, given that these were lessons teachers were already teaching. So you're taking lessons they're already teaching and putting it onto the TIM matrix. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. There's a QR code on this screen here. If you haven't already taken a shot of the QR, go ahead and do that now, or we'll provide an opportunity at the end of the presentation. So what is the TIM matrix? It's a technology integration matrix. It was created at the University of South Florida. It's a great tool for teachers to use to get a better understanding of how to implement technology in the classroom. And there are some resources you have to pay for on the site, but there are a ton of resources you don't have to pay for. A lot of example videos of entry-level versus transformational level lessons. And we're going to dig into that a little bit more in a minute. Who is familiar with the TIM matrix? I just learned about it myself a couple years ago in my instructional technology program at Kennesaw State University. Here's a really short film I wanted to share with you for those of you who may not be familiar with the TIM matrix. So this is someone who was an expert on the TIM matrix from the University of South Florida. I'm not going to play the whole video, but just the introductory piece.
Hello, ISTE 2013. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you in person in San Antonio. My name is James Welsh, and I'm from the Florida Center for Instructional Technology. I'm going to introduce you to the Technology Integration Matrix, and I'll describe some evaluation tools that we've developed to complement the TIM. The Technology Integration Matrix, or the TIM, is a model that provides a common language for describing and evaluating technology integration in K-12 settings. The TIM describes 5 attributes of meaningful learning environments across 5 levels of technology integration. The TIM specifically focuses on pedagogy and the pedagogical approach you use to technology integration. It's not specific to hardware or software or lessons, although it includes a lot of examples of all of those things. So to start with, let's talk about those 5 levels. The levels are entry.
I'm going to stop it right here. So here's the 5 levels that our staff development focused on. As you can see, the matrix is very comprehensive. It goes from left to right on the levels of technology integration. It goes from entry level to adoption, to adaptation, infusion, and finally transformation. So the idea is that at an entry level, it's a very teacher-directed lesson. Perhaps you're instructing something with the students using the Mimio Smartboard or a video projector, a document projector. Whereas the infusion and transformation levels are where students are choosing their own technology, using the technology, not going over procedural uses of technology, but the focus is really on the content of the lesson. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to walk you through the 5-day staff development on using this TIM matrix with your teachers. On day 1, you would introduce the TIM matrix to the teachers. Perhaps you might show them the entire short film I just shared with you on introducing the matrix, and have some handouts of the matrix for the teachers to explore together. After they've explored and talked about the different levels on the matrix, you can have some handouts of scenarios, teaching scenarios where it doesn't tell you what level it is on the matrix and they have to guess which level it's on. So let's just look at a couple of these scenarios. Okay, for this lesson, the teacher completes a lesson on the weather and how to determine what the weather is. The teacher then takes the students outside and provides them with different tools to assess the weather and achieve the outcome of the lesson. Students would already be familiar with the tools provided and have choice in which ones to use. The teacher acts as a guide in the learning, and the technology usage is self-directed. So this would be far to the right on the matrix. It's an active infusion lesson. The students are using the technology themselves, and it's very teacher facilitated, not teacher directed. In this scenario, the teacher uses a Mimio board or smartboard to introduce order of operations to the entire class. The teacher is the sole user of the technology and used it to deliver content to the students. It is a whole group lesson that may break off into groups after the content has been delivered. Okay, so what level is this? They would talk about it and come to a conclusion, and then you would do the big reveal. This is an entry-level lesson on the matrix. Okay, so day one continued. At this point in the staff development, you would explain to the teachers that they are going to use a lesson that they already are using. They're going to take that lesson, teach it without technology. It's a lesson that is not even on the matrix. It could be in any content area. And the goal is to transform it 2 times throughout the year. They will teach the lesson a total of 3 times during the staff development. 1 without technology, and then 2 more times, each time moving along to the right on the matrix. Just a side note, it's really important to be sure and have your teachers document each time the lesson is taught with video, photos, take pictures of the students working, upload any worksheets that were used and links or websites which were used onto a local shared drive. It could be a shared drive on the school's hard drive. It could be a Google shared drive, or maybe even your school's eClass training page. Okay, moving on to day 2. Day 2 is getting up and moving around a bit. It's having a chalk talk. And what I mean by chalk talk is the teachers at this point have already taught their lesson 1 time. They're going to write a lesson that they currently teach that does not include technology onto the poster, a large size, poster size Post-it note. And then they will hang the lesson on the wall or have it flat on the table, whichever you prefer, and have the other teachers of different content areas or grade levels walk around and take a look at these lessons. And the goal here is to brainstorm some ideas of how could they integrate technology usage into these lessons. So they can actually write onto the paper or use little Post-it notes and stick it onto their lesson idea. So like I said, they should have already taught the lesson. At this point on day 2, the teachers now can discuss the lesson and how it went with the students as a small group, and then maybe have one spokesperson share with the rest of the school how that day 1 lesson went. Some really important points to talk about are: what was the level of student engagement? And what will they do to transform the lesson? They decided on at least 1 column to the right on the 10 matrix, which could even be an entry-level lesson, because like I said, day 1, there's no technology in their lesson at all. So you want to send your teachers out with directions to reteach this lesson, and now replanned to include technology in some capacity, again, moving at least 1 space to the right on the matrix. Okay, day 3. As you know, staff meetings can have a certain atmosphere. It can be a sleepy atmosphere. You might want to make it more of a fun and inviting atmosphere with a game. So if you haven't already played Kahoot, Kahoot is a great way to get your teachers engaged in what's going on. Here's a Kahoot game. If you downloaded the QR code, you have all of this. Okay, I'm going to sign in with Google. See if it lets me in. Okay. Oh. Okay. So if I push play on here, it's going to give a code that your players would then enter into their tablets or phones or whatever device that they're using, or even computers. They're going to go to kahoot.it on the web address, and it will prompt for entering a code. I'm going to just show you some of the questions on this game. Technology integration in the classroom is blank. What resource can both teachers and students use to create videos that enhance instruction? Technology is best used when students can blank. Google spreadsheet is similar to blank. Okay. If I push play, this is what you see. Start now, and then I would go with the classic. Okay. And this is what you see. There's your code 376731. For those of you who haven't played Kahoot, it's a blast. It's fun. So, like I said, for day 3, you can begin with a game and ask teachers to share the ways that they have begun to integrate technology into the classroom. Which Web 3.0 technologies are they using? So this is just a round-robin style discussion. Maybe you could have a note taker to keep notes on the different types of technologies which are being used. And again, you're going to return to that main question: what was the student engagement like? Kind of a compare-contrast conversation from the prior meeting. Last time they were talking about student engagement without the technology. Today they're talking about student engagement with the technology, and you would hope that the students are becoming more engaged in the lessons, being that they're 21st century learners and are very accustomed and adapted to using technology in their everyday lives for the most part. Okay, so day 3, now the teachers are going to collaborate again on the TIM and go out and prepare to teach it with the students, moving up one level. Okay, so at this point, the teachers on day 4 should have already taught the 3 lessons. The lesson with no technology, the lesson for day 2, where it moves at least 1 space to the right on the matrix, and the 3rd lesson should be at least 2 spaces to the right on the matrix, which would be an adaptive level, infusion level, or transformational level. So for day 4, this is going to be a smaller meeting space. Perhaps teachers might meet on their grade level, or maybe meet with their content area teachers, whoever they teach with, their colleagues, and they're going to create a presentation of the lesson that they have transformed. And they can use any Web 3.0 application of their choosing. It could be Animoto, it could be Prezi, it could even be Blabberize or Voki, you name it. The point is it kind of mirrors what the students will be doing on the TIM matrix. It's a very creative mode, a higher order thinking mode, and the focus is not on using the technology, but creating something new with the technology. So on the presentation, they should have uploaded pictures of the lessons and links which they used, discuss where they started on or off of the matrix, and where did they end up. And back to the central question again, did it make a difference in student engagement? Hopefully the answer is yes. So last but not least, day 5, celebrate your success. After all of the hard work that your staff has gone through, or your teachers have gone through on implementing these lessons on the technology integration matrix, it's important to celebrate their hard work and their success. It also emphasizes the validity of the